All right, showtime. We're gonna just hop straight into this one. If you clicked on this video, you see that I said that this figure basically has a lot of heart. Now, what do I mean by that? Throughout this video, you're gonna hear me compare Toybiz to Hasbro a lot, because Hasbro, of course, is the company that has taken over the making and releasing of the Marvel Legends action figure line. And the reason why I specifically talked about the heart of this figure is because when they made this figure, and you're gonna see as I go through it, when they made this figure, it's very clear that whoever sculpted this had a was happy. Like, you can see the joy and the passion in the sculpting of the figure. And I just don't feel that with most modern Marvel Legends. A lot of modern Marvel Legends feel like they feel like just regular old toys. They don't feel like a collectible, like something that you're proud to display. It's kind of like, oh, you have it, they kind of average. Um, I don't want to focus too much on the comparison between the two companies for now, but we're gonna go start off with the figure, the overall look. The overall look of this figure, despite some of the dated looking joints, like the two ball joints here, that's a little dated looking. Like, nobody uses articulation that looks like that for the most part anymore. But besides that, the overall look of the figure is pretty decent, especially for the time period that it's coming from, early 2000s. 2005, 2004, 2005. I think it looks really good. Now, there's a couple things I'm gonna critique either way, but let's just get into it. Um, First thing I want to note is look at the muscle striations. Like, look at the muscle definition. Like, the amount of detail. This is a damn near what, closing in on a 20-year-old figure. A figure that came out 20 years ago. Look at the musculature, if that's a word. I might have mispronounced the word, but you know, it is what it is. That's awesome. I don't feel like you really like, and it looks organic. A lot of times, you look at a Marvel Legend, and the muscles is there and everything, but something just looks off. Like, it looks blocky or something. This feels organic. Like, there's a blockiness to it because he's a man, but it just looks like, I don't know. It looks right. The best way to explain it. Now, if you look, I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but the suit is textured. Like, they went the extra mile to have the suit be textured. That's something that definitely didn't have to happen. What you call it? If Hasbro released this definitely wouldn't be textured. But that's what I mean by the figure having heart. Like, little unnecessary things, and even the head sculpt. Let's look at the head sculpt. With Hasbro, you get a million, you get a million different head sculpts. Some of the head sculpts be looking like, oh, you got a black man, black man, and then it's like they change his skin color, and they might put it on another figure who's a white man. So sometimes they can be real lazy like that. I'm not saying that that's a thing that's all happening all the time, but it's exaggeration. Not even really an exaggeration, but it speaks to how much they reuse parts. I feel like a lot of times with Toy Biz, we didn't get that. And now, this is not. I'm trying not to make this a Toy Biz is so much better than Hasbro video, but you know, either way, going back to the overall look of the figure. Now, there's some unproportionate parts here, like he's suffering from some of that droopy shoulder arm syndrome here. Like, his traps are huge, and then his shoulders are all the way down here. Like, to make this look more proportionate, I would have gave him bigger shoulders or something. You know, but I guess they didn't sculpt the shoulders bigger because then he might have had even more trouble bringing his arms up. And with that being said, that's a nice segue for talking about the articulation. Now, first things first, the head looks down that much. head looks that much, and it's hard to, characters with this long hair. It's hard to, mitigate that aspect, but it looks up about that far. Any attitude or any, stank? Uh, a little, the tiniest bit, not a whole lot. Now we're gonna go with the arms. All right, you bring out his arms about that much. Uh, Arms go all the way around. Cut at the bicep, double jointed elbow. Oh yeah, and this is something they don't do anymore. Toybiz used to do this a lot. Okay, wrist hinge, and he has a swivel at the top of his glove, and his fingers are individually articulated. So back in the before time, before we got a bunch of extra hands for an action figure, Toybiz just said, we're gonna have you be able to pose the hands however you want. Each of the fingers are individually articulated except for the thumb. But that aside, ab crunch is okay. I don't think that's acceptable for what you call it. Even for back then, that's not very good. I think the belt, even it doesn't even really feel like the belt is in the way. Going back, not very much. All right, now we're gonna move over to the legs. My favorite part when it comes to the legs is the splits. And this is another thing. How does this figure have better splits than a lot of, Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures? It's just that's a damn shame. This came out how many years ago again? I'm not gonna stop harping on that. So all right, at the top, we get a swivel at the top of the thigh. Double jointed knee works great, and it goes in pretty deep. You get a boot cut if you want it, but I don't like the way that looks at all. You get a ankle hinge. Oh, it goes up far, goes down far. Toe hinge, and a very slight ankle rocker. It's okay. That's one thing I say Hasbro has. It's over Toybiz. The ankle rocker game, they got that on lock. The ankle rockers are usually pretty damn good. But yeah, this figure has a lot of heart. The head sculpt down to the texture on the costume. Now, one thing I will say is while Toybiz did use a lot more paint than Hasbro, which I'm always advocating for more paint. Some of the paint wasn't the cleanest, It looks like one thing I will say is it looks like this whole midsection here, that's a slightly different yellow than the arms and the legs, and that's not the best. The paint on the belt is okay. Now I want to take into account that some of it is due to the wear of me having it, and then some of it I think is just the quality control, because it looks like the figure was originally molded in yellow and they just painted over it. You can see by the hinge right here, the joint. Oh wait, yeah, I can't see. It's out of focus. Wait, damn, I'm trying to get you out to see. Oh yeah, you can see it right there. The hinge is yellow. That's not very good. You never want the original color that the figure was molded in to be shown, unless that's the color of the character. But that's not his skin tone. His skin tone is not yellow, so that's not very good. Although, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by my camera shutting off. The hinge joint in the neck didn't match the skin tone, and I was like, you never want that the color of the figure that the figure was molded in to show, especially if that's not the color of the actual character. But with that being said, it's still a couple more things to mention. Back then, they used to have this thing called running changes or variants. So there's a version of this same action figure that he had shorter hair and he didn't have a beard. And I'd make a comparison with that one. if you know.
If I had one! Sorry.
But anyways, Hasbro also came out with one, and I didn't really care for that one. I thought he was a little bit too big. I didn't think he represented the character accurately. But I don't have that one either. But I also didn't really want that one, as I just said. In terms of accessories, he didn't come with any that you could count as an accessory to him as a character. But he did come with other stuff in his packaging, which I don't have, but I will tell you what he did come with. He came with a Sentry comic book, because back then, Toybiz was nice enough to give you a free comic book with your figure. And it came with a Build-A-Figure piece, which I want to make a discussion video on, not necessarily specifically Build-A-Figure pieces, but having to buy a bunch of figures that you may not want in order to get accessories for another figure or to build this one gigantic figure. I want to make a video on that at a point in the future. But overall, this is definitely a solid release. Back then, I believe Marvel Legends used to be like $10, you know, plus tax. And now Marvel Legends, what they you know, they creeping up on $30. Some of the figures are $30 now. Some are like $25. But this was, of course, you know, the market, inflation, all of that good stuff. But I feel like you were getting a lot more bang for your buck back then. And I feel like Marvel Legend prices have been going up, but for the most part, you know, the modern figures haven't been going up. But once again, I don't want to go off on a you know, a tangent too much. Overall, solid figure. Is this a must-have? No, it's not a must-have. But if you like the Sentry, in my opinion, this is the one to go with. Now, one last thing. I don't know why they gave him this ginger brunette hair color, because the Sentry definitely has blonde hair. I don't know. Like, I didn't see any. I did some quick Google searching, and I didn't see him with brown hair not once. Maybe in this story, maybe in a particular storyline that I missed or something, because it was just a quick Google search. But in most of the pictures I've seen, blonde hair. With this variation, with the yellow and the blue costume, he has blonde hair. I'm not referring to where he fused with the Void and he had the red and black costume. But either way, with that being said, stay tuned for like the 2 pictures I have at the end. And until next time, peace out.